Our fully renovated mid-century property, located in the heart of downtown Lexington, is lovingly crafted to immerse you in the very best of authentic Central Kentucky culture. 340 is your short-term home base for experiencing all things Kentucky. Modern luxury meets traditional bluegrass at 340 Broadway. We invite you to live like a local and experience the best of the bluegrass right outside your front door. Call it the horse capital of the world, bourbon country, or the bluegrass. We call it home, and we want to share it with you. 340lex.com.
With Liquor Barn, you can shop your favorite bourbon, that perfect bottle of wine, or discover something new. To place an order for pickup or delivery, download the Liquor Barn app, visit liquorbarn.com, or call your nearest Liquor Barn location. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our email list for all the latest news on products, promotions, and events. Liquor Barn, where Kentuckians go to celebrate life. Cheers!
Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, wow, we're already losing control of the show here, but with me live tonight in the Bourbon Life studios around the Flights of the Round Table is the Bourbon Life Crew. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, not much, Mark. This is a full table if I've ever seen it.
It definitely is. We even have Mrs. Bourbon Life joining us tonight. We did not mic her up, though, for obvious reasons.
No, she's got to earn a mic.
Next time.
Just kidding.
Anita.
Just kidding. But we do have the crew. We have Philip.
How's it going?
We got Chad.
Heyo.
Yeah. We got Stacy.
Yep.
And we got Matt.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We're so glad to have you here with us.
Yeah. Oh, and we are tonight. We're actually presented by 340 Lex, which is a kind of like an Airbnb downtown Lexington. So it's a really neat thing. You can get online, check them out. It's the number 340 Lex. So check them out. So they are the show sponsored tonight, and we appreciate them and all of our sponsors. But this is the Bourbon Life Friendsgiving episode, right? Is that what we're going to call it? Friendsgiving?
You've already set it in stone.
Yeah.
It's done. It's already determined. So what we're doing tonight, we're actually like we did last year, but we've added Stacy this year, which is cool. So we're happy to have her with us.
Please don't sound so excited.
What are you talking about? We're thrilled
Which
to have
is
you.
cool.
He'll add that clapping in post.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do clapping. No, because, Matt worked hard. Matt made us a delicious Friendsgiving meal tonight. So, Matt, you know what? If you want, tell everybody what you made for us as we're chomping and going to be eating, and tell everybody about what you made for us.
Sure deal. I would love to. So last year, around this time, which is Thanksgiving-ish, so we're a week and a half out, I came to Mark with the idea of doing a show all about cooking with whiskey. And so I came up with some recipes, and we had a full meal. And I thought it went over really well. I think everybody else did too, because they got a free dinner out of it.
Yeah, and we loved your nut. Your nuts were the best part. I'm just going to say, everybody, we still talk about that. All right.
Apparently my nuts outdid my pork.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I was going to say you didn't have spatchcock chicken last year.
No, there was no spatchcock chicken.
okay.
But Matt, tell everybody what you prepared for us this year.
So this year, Mark approached me with the idea of doing it again. So we have a whole episode here with a meal that I cooked and prepared, and each dish highlights a different bourbon or rye. So I'll just kind of go with our first course, kind of our appetizer here. And these are all dishes that I thought of would be really good for entertaining. So think of your holiday parties. Some of these are easy to pass around. It could be an appetizer, a small canapé on a tray or something, but also not terribly time-consuming recipes. So you won't have to slave all day through the kitchen, but I think they turned out pretty well and are certainly good to impress. So the first round, I wanted to do a nice appetizer. And so we have bourbon-soaked dates that are stuffed with pecans. So I took the pecans and soaked those. And the whiskey, the bourbon I chose for this one was the Maker's Mark Cask Strength. And I wanted to use something a little sweeter, but also with some kick, a little punch to come through.
Your nuts were not only sweet, but they're strong. I mean, very
I
nice.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So went with a wheated mash bill.
Grow up. You're the most mature one at this table. Act your age.
Okay.
They really
Sorry.
slap you in the mouth.
Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Hey, no
Continue.
problem. So the maker's cast strength, which I think is 110 proof, I soaked pecans in that for about 2 days. And then overnight, I put some dates in there as well and soaked dates in that same liquid. And then we took those out. I stuffed the pecans inside the dates, wrapped them in bacon because why not?
Why not? It's bacon, right?
Of course. And then baked them off in the oven. And to finish, just to cut through a little bit of the richness, I added some orange zest, a little orange juice on top, and just some sugar to give a little bit of a sweetness with it as well. So nice appetizer to pass around and get a meal started.
Man, I'm telling you, these are awesome, Matt.
And actually, I think maybe even better than these, the soaking liquid that we had the pecans and the dates in turned out to be a real hit, and I guess made kind of a devil of an old fashioned.
We just I hunted out some orange bitters that I tucked away.
Yep.
And we poured it in each got a Glencairn and poured up a little shot and put some ice in it as well and added the orange bitters. That was pretty daggone tasty.
For the record, it was even delicious without the orange bitters.
Yeah, exactly right. So Matt's soaking nuts and dates for a couple of days.
Matt's special juice RTD comes.
Yeah, it's an RTD. That's exactly right. We should, Matt's nuts and dates.
You know, I have a confession to make.
What's that?
Not about Matt's nuts, but when you
Wow.
Thank God.
Oh, goodness gracious. Here we go.
when you guys were passing around said liquid, I thought that this was juice from the chicken. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Which again, you know, I'm not above it. You know, everything's been made with some sort of whiskey in it. But I was like, no, guys, I think I'm good. And then you guys busted out the orange beers. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? But then I realized, oh, okay, this is the date juice.
It wasn't the juice from
the
Matt's
nut juice,
spatchcock. We were drinking
No.
the juice of Matt's soaked nuts.
Correct.
Yeah.
So sorry.
You're all right. I'm glad you got on board with it and sampled it. I'm glad you realized that we weren't
Quite delicious.
drinking chicken juice.
I
But,
mean, I'm not above it.
hey, I did actually sample the
Broth.
the broth. Yeah, because it was a broth. Because he put carrots and onions and celery and everything in there with the chicken. So that was pretty daggone tasty. Nice little layer of chicken fat on top. You know, that thick mouthfeel. Good stuff.
So speaking of thick mouthfeel and taste, what are we drinking?
Oh my gosh.
All right, we're gonna be canceled.
Something poured up here.
Wow. I don't have the bottle, but anyway, last week, was it last week? When did we go? Week before last? Last week? When was it? Good God, I don't even remember. 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Mrs. Bourbon Life. We went down to the Grains and Grits Festival in Townsend, Tennessee, and saw all the a lot of the Tennessee distilleries down there. And Old Dominic was there, and Alex Castle was there as well. So I got my picture with Alex to make Matt jealous because Matt's a big fan of her work. So they also had their brand new releases, and I picked up a bottle of the Old Dominic Bottled in Bond Tennessee whiskey, batch number 1. So this was, it says spring of 2017. So I guess that would make it 5 years. Yeah, 5 years, right? 100 proof, bottled in bond.
It adds up.
Yeah, I'm doing the math right? Heavy char number 4, non-chill filtered, aged in West Tennessee white oak barrels. Mash bill, 75% corn, 13%. I like that they have all this right on the label.
Yeah, I love information like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Mash bill, 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. Beautiful bottle, really cool. I like that design. The label's really neat. It's got the, hey, since we're eating chicken tonight, it does have the big rooster, you know, right there on the front, or the cock, as you might say, which is the symbol of Old Dominic. It's on their distillery, you know, down in Memphis. They're in Memphis, Tennessee. So this is a batch size. This is only 6 barrels. Barrel entry proof was 110. So they're doing some low entry proof down there in Memphis.
Would you say that size matters?
It does. I think it really does. There's no question about
It's
that.
not about the size of the batch, Mark. It's about how you use it.
Exactly right. And Alex has done well. You guys, let's talk about the job that Alex has done. Who would like Matt? Since you're the chef this evening,
We accept this rose.
will you accept this rose? There you go.
I like it. The nose is really inviting. It's got good sweetness from corn, like a nice corn pudding, but there's also some subtle butterscotch and vanilla with it as well.
Okay.
And then I pick up like some undertones of citrus on the tail end, and almost like a woodsy like cedar.
Okay.
Very, very soft at the tail end.
Pencil shavings.
Let's not go that far.
Damn it, Mark, you stole my thunder.
Oh, were you going to say that?
No, I was going to be sarcastic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I got you. All right. Go ahead, smarty pants. You know, the crazy thing to me though, this smells almost like a bourbon.
Yeah, you know what? It does. No, I agree with the with Matt with the butterscotch and a little bit of the, I don't know if I'd say cedar. I get like a sawdust kind of just wood. I can't really put a descriptor on it. Cedar's a good one. I'm still chewing on the date. So
Yeah. So you're getting some interference
yeah,
on the
getting some interference.
I
so
get it.
Come
I get it.
back.
We'll come back
here
to
in a
you,
second.
Stacy. What about you? What do you get?
Well, I was also getting some interference with the date, and I don't know if it's the candied orange sugar that we have on top of the date, but I am getting a lot of orange zest
Yeah,
on
strong.
the nose
That's
there.
That's
I got you.
But hey, this pairs very nicely
Yeah.
with your dates.
I was gonna say, yeah, Matt, with your soaked nuts, this Old Dominic Tennessee whiskey. I keep wanting to say bourbon, but it's Tennessee whiskey. So, Philip, what about you, man? What do you get?
I think it's just very sweet. Like the citrus, I will agree with everybody on that.
75% corn. So yeah, not a shocker that it's going to be.
But you don't get I don't get a lot of corn at all. It's all like
But
very citrus forward.
yeah, it's coming across those sweet with that sweetness. It doesn't obviously. I mean, it's 5 years old. It doesn't have a youthful aroma to it at all. I'm not picking up like the grains themselves. Really,
No.
really
Got a
heavy.
roastiness from the barley that I pick up. Like
Okay.
that nice grain, like kind of cereal note.
like a single malt or like a malt whiskey.
More, I get like more sweet cereal
Do you? Okay.
notes from it, but you can definitely tell that it's got a fair bit of barley's not just there to aid the fermentation; it's actually there for some.
There's some flavoring
Yeah.
because there's 13%. Is that or
Yeah.
Is that what it said? 12%. Yeah. So it's more than 6 or 8, which a lot of whiskeys I think have. So you do have a higher concentration there of that malted barley.
I think that barley makes it really stand out instead of like the typical bourbon mash bill where it's like 4% malted barley.
Yeah.
That's what's really making it stand out.
Yeah. Anybody get any like chocolate notes or anything or little?
I was going to say
like
coffee a little bit ago.
Coffee. Okay.
Coffee and citrus, but I was just wondering if that was the date. So I didn't really want to like convince myself and be like,
Yeah.
But now since everyone else is kind of chiming in,
I almost get like a molasses, I don't know, like sorghum maybe.
Gotcha.
Have you had the chocolate oranges?
Yeah.
Like, people have them around Christmas.
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah.
what I would, if I was going to compare it to something. That's
I
what
got you.
would
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. So far on the nose, we're good. So
yeah, really enjoying that.
yeah. So you guys, what do you want to do next? We have. I didn't make any plans for this show. I feel kind of.
No, you just started recording. You didn't ask us, what do you want to talk about? It's, hey, Matt, let's talk about your nuts. Let's eat some nuts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
drink some whiskey.
Yeah. So Matt's over there eating, so I don't want to stop him and say, "Hey, tell us about what else you made for us to
Just
eat."
for the next round.
We'll do it for the. Oh, okay. So we're gonna do
Ooh,
round
course-
the round.
course by
Oh,
course.
okay. It's a progressive dinner.
Yeah.
I like that.
Let's
so
talk about the big Facebook, Instagram story of the week was Weller 12 and
Oh, and
goodness
Yellowstone.
gracious.
buying their spot on Yellowstone.
how crazy was that,
They
man?
sponsored the episode or the season, didn't they?
I think the season.
I would have
Oh,
to
did they
assume
really?
It's the season.
Okay, yeah.
So I've got one of my best friends works at Buffalo Trace, and he's got like a gift basket that's got the Yellowstone rocks glass, and so yeah, they have definitely spent some money.
So the marketing team at Buffalo Trace has gone for full force.
And good news for all you Blanton's taters out there, Weller 12 is the new talk of the town.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll be-
You're in luck, Chad.
yeah. Chad. Speaking of which, since
I know
you do
February is coming around.
you do work in retail, was there an influx of people coming by?
February.
Y'all got that Weller 12?
February. I thought it was Blanuary.
No.
Oh, it's February?
February.
Okay.
I'm not doing 2 months in a row, Matt. Play anywhere is good. No, I did have about 13 people. I started counting, asking about, showing me screenshots or I seen this on the Yellowstone. I've been looking for this.
Yeah.
I Googled it. It says it's one of the best damn whiskeys you can buy. So,
How much do we think that Weller 12 is going to go up on secondary because of that?
I could give a shit less. Already $200.
I mean, well,
now.
I mean,
Well, yeah, but
not
I
that
was,
we care, but I'm curious.
I haven't really watched to see.
I
Have you
haven't
seen
looked,
any?
But I would have to guess at least a couple $100.
I think it would
just
bump
for
it
that.
some.
That's awesome. I'm sitting on so much.
So we're going to get some really nice Christmas presents.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, we don't. Have
So
to,
I do know there's some stores in Frankfurt that have it on the shelf currently, and they're asking $300.
are they really?
So I'm assuming that price is going up.
Wow.
Oh, for sure.
And it's already on the shelf at 300. I mean, that's
So
How much dust is collected?
it's the
on that?
mentality
not
of
much, surprisingly.
I'm pricing it
Moves quick.
expensive,
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
continue to price it expensive. Like,
And what? It's like a $50 bottle retail, 50, 60.
I want to say,
I was gonna say if you get it from Total Wine or Liquor Barn, maybe.
that a price change came through, and I believe it is now $60.
Is it? Okay.
Still.
And for 12 year, that seems like a reasonable. I mean, $60, that's reasonable. 300, no. That's,
Yeah.
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 But so here's the thing. So your Buffalo Trace, people are going nuts now about Weller 12. To what end? Nobody could find it, right? So what? I mean, it's not like it's benefiting them from a sales perspective because there's nothing to sell. So
Yeah,
No, but people are
it's
going
all
to seek
bought up.
out whatever Buffalo
What are
Trace
the-
products they can get.
which you
It-
can't get anyway.
It's the mentality of they don't need to. I mean, we've already seen like they have the Eagle Rare golf team. They do all the sponsorships. They've done some racing and that kind of crap. They don't need any marketing, but anything that can draw people in. Because at this point, I think Buffalo Trace is more going for the affluent crowd. They don't need every Tom, Dick, and Harry on Facebook because they know that crowd's there. They want the people who are going to come in and pay
I got you. So,
yeah,
which that
$100,000
makes-
for a barrel.
That makes sense. Yeah. So they're trying to. Yeah.
So you also got to look at it this way. Okay, so also in the same episode, they go up to the bartender at whatever they're having an event, and they're like, "I want a double Buffalo Trace on the rocks," and all of my other guys will have the same.
so it's just
they're
the-
promoting Buffalo Trace too.
Now, see, I can
And
see that. That's what I was thinking.
So-
yeah. Okay.
Before that episode aired, I'm at Total Wine Sunday doing a tasting for Country Smooth. Chad's not there. I literally had 15 people come up to me. I'm wearing a Country Smooth shirt. Okay. Country Smooth products. You got any Buffalo Trace? Does it look like I got any Buffalo
They
Trace?
weren't asking if you work there. They're just asking, do
Yeah,
you
do
have
you
any
have
Buffalo
it?
Trace?
Yeah. Yeah. Back
Got
in my
any
house.
out in your car?
It is mind blowing.
That's what every time someone says, you got any Blands? I say, you know what I do at home. And no one thinks that's funny. So
I think it's really funny. That's what I would have told it. I would tell that to anybody. I would
It
be
is
like, yeah.
mind blowing the hype that they have been able to build for no reason. I mean, it's good, but
Yeah.
there is no experts saying go pick up Buffalo Trace because it's the best thing on the market. Like,
Right.
it's good, but
I
it's
just
not.
I wonder how much they paid for the placement. That's
yeah,
and
I'd
for
be
this.
curious to know that also.
well, I can tell you what it cost. So, local brewery in town told me they reached out to Buffalo Trace. They were going to do a partnership with on barrel aged beer, and just to use, they already had the barrels. I mean, they can tell you they can't advertise it, can't put it on the cans or the bottles. It was going to cost, I think he said, $68,000 just to license the name Buffalo Trace for the cans, like just to put that out there, not including what they're going to make back from that.
yeah. But I mean, because Buffalo Trace had to pay to get their product placed in. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
They had to pay. I mean, Yellowstone's
I would think, yeah.
they're
because
not going to pay them to put.
No,
their
I
product
feel like
on.
it was kind of a 50-50, like, we'll give you some money, but we want like
you scratch our back if we scratch
Yeah, I
Has
wonder.
anybody else watched Yellowstone here?
I've
I have
never.
no interest.
Okay, so every episode up to this point, John, the main guy,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Costner, he drinks Bullet. Buffalo Trace bought that spot.
Yeah. Bullet
Oh.
had the
He
contract,
al- yeah,
I believe.
He always drank Bullet.
Okay.
Every episode, he was drinking Bullet bourbon,
I got you.
and then all of a sudden,
So I mean, it's
crack
product
open.
placement. You see it in movies all the time, right? So everybody's, and it's funny because like I think of Austin Powers, who was so, or even like Happy Gilmore, where he's like the big Subway sandwich. I mean, it's just, it's obviously it's done in movies, it's done in TV shows as well. So I'm just curious. I would love to know what the terms of that deal are.
Yeah, what's the ROI? Like, what are they expecting to get?
That's
like,
that's what you just said. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what I was
mean-
asking. I'm like, what they're paying a shit ton of money to do that. I guarantee it's a shit ton of money for them to put those products in that show that's going to be watched by millions of people. But then what's the ROI is that people are wanting the product, but there's no product out there to be purchased because it's allocated and it's gone when it hits the shelf, right?
And I mean, I know they released the numbers already. That first episode had over 12 million.
Jeez.
12 million viewers. And so I'll give them credit. They paid a lot because every scene that it was shown, like the other 12,
You could see the label. Yeah, so you can read the label.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I mean, good for them, but goodness gracious. But I think about so who was it? Was it Beth that was holding the bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we watch the show Billions on Showtime, and they drank Michter's.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Michter. They had the 25-year on there.
I heard with that some people that are on the show are fan of Michter's, and they never paid for that. Like Michter's got on the show because people on the show like drinking it. So
yeah, someone on the show was a big fan. They're like, okay, you're going to be drinking bourbon in this scene. And that person was like, oh, well, this is my favorite bourbon. Can I just have it? And the bottle was like slightly askew, but you could see the Michter's bottle and know it's Michter's.
Yeah.
And then Michter's was like, oh, well, how about this bottle too? Put that in there.
Yeah, because there's one scene that I know it's a 25-year that Wendy's drinking. Wendy's one of my favorite characters on that show. So somebody put on Facebook, they showed a picture of Wendy with the Michter's 25, and they showed Beth with the Weller's 12, and it said Wendy with the greater than sign, Wendy greater than.
I didn't know what show that was from. So
Yeah.
I'm clearly behind.
It's interesting to know what these brands pay because here's a deep cut for y'all. Have you all ever seen the movie with Sylvester Stallone called Bullet to the Head?
No.
No.
I've not.
Neither has he.
Sits down at a bar.
Oh my god.
In this movie, he sits down at a bar and they're like, "Oh, what do you want?" He's like, "I brought my own," and he sets a bottle up, and it's a bottle of Bullet bourbon, and he's like, "I only drink Bullet bourbon."
Wow, dude.
I thought you were going to reference the Stallone movie Over the Top.
Oh no,
One of my favorites.
that is a good one.
Is that the arm wrestling?
Yeah, the arm wrestling truck driver.
Oh my god.
Oh, y'all haven't seen that?
No.
Oh, it's great.
Gosh, yeah, that's
Oh goodness.
classic Stallone.
All right, guys. So let's go back. Let's talk a little bit about the pour that we've got here, the Old Dominick Bottled and Bond Tennessee whiskey. What do you guys think in terms of the taste on it? Anybody?
I really get the rye,
Do you?
like a sweet, grassy note, but I know it's the rye.
Gotcha. Chad, what about you?
I too get the rye, the malt. Like there's a grainy aspect to it, but I feel like it's the malt showing through. It's not too strong, but the cereal grain. I mean, it's kind of just like Cheerios. It has a taste, but it doesn't have a taste. But you know what that tastes like. Is what I'm picking up.
Okay.
And I get just a hint of like a dark chocolate. The oak's really good in there, and a little bit of cherry. I mean, at 5 years old, I think this is. What's the cost on this? Does anyone know the retail?
I bought the bottle and I can't remember
Son of a bitch.
how much it was, man. I'll go back and find out because they sent me a receipt. So I'll double check.
This and Green River at 5 years is some of the best 5-year juice I've had.
Okay. There you have it. Awesome. Stacey, what about, well, I don't know, can you top that?
I can't. I was going to go with cereal notes as well, but Chad, I think, nailed it with that. So I'll just be quiet now.
Gotcha. Well, Matt, I'm coming over to you, man. So
I got to echo cereal notes. It's got, and I think Chad really hit it well. It's got that Cheerio note where, what does a Cheerio taste like? It tastes like a Cheerio.
yeah,
Like it's just a Cheerio. It's good.
Right.
It's very distinct. It's got that great flavor. There's a little bit of vanilla. I get a lot of spice, a lot of cinnamon right up front too.
yeah, I get a lot of spice on this. I'm really at 13%.
I was surprised,
13%.
Yeah.
It's just kind of surprising to me how spicy, at least to me. I don't know if it's the food, combined somehow. My palate's off that I'm picking up that much spice, but this tastes really spicy. I mean,
And it's got like a nice, it goes like kind of kicks to herbal a little bit. I pick up some spearmint.
yeah,
Kind of right after that. And then the barley really comes through again on the finish, kind of that roasty, dark toffee type notes.
yeah, a hint of chocolate, which is kind of what I thought I was picking up on the nose a little bit too. So
Yeah, I think the spice, it's there, and when you first take a sip, it really hits you, and then it dissipates really fast, and then it's just a sweet mouthfeel. Like it's just all really sweet afterwards, but it's like a punch, and then it just
I think this is really well done.
Yeah. Hey, Alex has nailed it here, I guess. Great job. So what do you think in terms of, well, you know, since we don't have a guest, we can do I always feel weird, you know, wait, what is it, Matt?
Fixture mixture.
Fixture mixture. I can't even remember that. So what do you guys think? Fixture mixture.
Fixture for sure.
I'd
for
say,
me.
as long as it's not like $100 5-year-old product, that's a fixture.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. All right. I think we're all in agreement. I'm going to find out for sure. I'll double check my receipt on that to find out what the cost. I was just so excited to get to meet Alex. I didn't care what it cost.
Also, guess what? This pairs really nicely with our Thanksgiving feast.
It does. Our Friendsgiving, especially with the date, the bacon wrapped
Oh, yeah.
date that's been soaked in Maker's Mark with a nut inside that's been soaked as well, Matt. Great job on the appetizer, man. I mean,
Hey, thanks.
That's really fun. All right, guys, end of round one. So let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsors. We'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Friendsgiving in just a few minutes.
Three Chords line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The three-chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they called Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com.
Spirits of French Lick crafts their spirits using only the finest agricultural product that has defined character, following their motto, respect the grain. They lead the way in representing the quality of the Hoosier artisan distilling process while paying tribute to its inseparable past. By implementing best practices from those early times, combined with modern touches, Spirits of French Lick has created a truly unique place in the industry. Spirits of French Lick products are distributed throughout Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri, and can also be purchased online through Sealbox at sealbox.com. Visit spiritsofFrenchlick.com to learn more information and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. All right, everybody, welcome back for round two of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me live tonight, in person, I should say, around the Flights of the Round Table, it's all my good friends. It's the Bourbon Life Friendsgiving with Chad.
Wah.
Oh, well, not too late. And Stacey.
Heyo.
Yep, Philip.
Hey.
Mr. Personality on the mic tonight. And my good buddy, Matt. Matt, how you doing?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing really great. How are you?
I am doing very well. My belly is full with some delicious food that you cooked up for us, man. That was very nice. We really appreciate that for our special Friendsgiving episode that we've got here. Mrs. Bourbon Life is also hanging out with us around the table with one of our kitty cats, man. So, you know, what more could I ask for in life, right?
Right, life's good. Got a
Life is good.
full belly, good friends.
Lots of good whiskey on the
Yeah.
table here. Speaking of which, maybe we can just jump right in and talk about what we're going to be drinking here. Philip, I think you brought that one.
I did. So before we do that, I want to ask you, how does it feel to get through a whole entire session without being made fun of?
You know what?
Hey, hold on. The night's not over yet.
But I made
First
it.
session.
I made it through one round, and that's a lot. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything.
Just means
but,
it's going to come. Extra,
you guys are building
extra
up.
heavy. Yeah.
You guys are busy eating, and now everybody's
Sneak
done.
attack.
Everybody's finished eating. So
Oh, speaking of eating, let me just talk everybody
Yeah.
through.
Oh, yeah,
the main
Matt.
course
Yeah,
here
talk
before we
about- yeah.
before we get on the drink.
Yeah, go.
I won't go too long here. So the main course that we had, I wanted to do something again simple, but that would pair well with a bourbon and a rye. So the main course was a bourbon brine chicken. I used Clyde Mays 92 proof bourbon for this and brined it overnight, 24 hours, in a brine that I made with some maple syrup, bourbon, water, salt, a little bit of brown sugar, some aromatic spices, thyme, and sage. And we just let that go. And then I just roasted in the oven, rubbed some sage and thyme on the chicken itself, roasted in there on top of some celery, carrots, and onion, classic mirepoix. And then the side was sous vide carrots, which
It was so good.
one of my favorite things to make. Carrots with thyme, salt, pepper, olive oil, and a little bit of ginger, fresh grated ginger on there. And then we do cook those sous vide, so that's cooking in a water bath. So you put them inside a Ziploc bag or some sort of an airtight bag, and then they're cooked in a controlled water bath at a set temperature. So these could easily be done that way or roast in an oven. And then afterwards, I just glazed them with some James E. Pepper rye whiskey. That was the rye on this one, and a little bit of honey and some of the juices that were in the bag, and just made a quick glaze on top of those.
Man, and it was delicious.
That was some of the best chicken I've ever had, honestly.
Your spatchcock was delicious, Matt. I cannot tell you how moist and tender it was. It really was. It was delicious, man. I was very impressed with it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, all.
And you made 2 of them. That's
Especially the whip. When did he start cooking?
I don't know. You came over. I was out when Matt came over. So you were here what time? 5 something?
Yeah, a little after 5.
So it was
about 2 hours. Cook time total.
Yeah, shit, it would take me like 7 days.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, boys, put down the video games. Learn how to cook.
There you go.
Hey, amen to that.
Exactly
Amen
right.
to
And
that.
get out and pump gas as well,
Yeah.
please.
And open a door, damn it.
There you go. All right. Now we're getting off topic here. Matt,
Mark's like, that's where I draw the line.
Don't you dare ask me to open a door for you.
that's enough. Stop it. No, I'm just kidding. But Matt, the carrots were delicious as well. And I don't think I've ever had sous vide carrots. And these were full carrots, so you didn't slice them up. They weren't like 2 inches in diameter carrots, but they were full size carrots, and they were whole. They were tasty, and they cooked down really nice. So the sous vide, I've never done that before. Mrs. Bourbon Life's trying to tell me something. I don't know.
It was a 10 out of 10.
It was a 10 out of 10. Yeah, the carrots were
Holding up a
absolutely
scorecard.
delicious.
From my angle, it looks like she's holding up a 1.
Yeah, I was like an
Ooh,
01.
wow.
Yeah.
Like
Mark,
you're
she was telling you
like,
you're number 1.
like you're a loser. Like it looked like a big L in the shape of an L on her forehead there to me.
my God.
Anyway, but yeah, Matt, thank you so much, man. That was a absolutely delicious Friendsgiving. I know we have a 3rd round coming up, and we'll talk about that later. So let's jump over to the whiskey. Back to you, Philip.
All right, so on this round, we've got the Spirits of French Lick Solomon Scott Rye Whiskey. It's a 60% rye, 35% corn, 5% malt. Everything is aged at least 4 years, and it's 100 proof.
But it is not a bottled in bond.
It is no, it does not say bottled. Or it does say bottled.
It does? Okay.
Yeah, it does say bottled.
Okay.
Under government supervision. Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice. And this is the group. This is Spirits of French Lick over there in French Lick, Indiana. Alan Bishop.
The alchemist of the Black Forest.
Goodness gracious, man.
He's a riot.
If you don't follow him on Instagram, Facebook, do yourself a favor. Find Alan, ALAN, Alan Bishop. He is an absolute trip. He's fun. And he has his own distilling institute that he's doing now. He does videos about distilling moonshine,
So
basically.
one piece at a time.
One piece at a time distilling.
Anybody that's interested in distilling, definitely check out that YouTube page.
Yeah.
And he's got a book out too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So he has so much knowledge; it's unreal.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the most down to earth people that you'll ever meet and talk to.
He definitely is. He's been on our show twice now, right, Matt? We've had him on. He's one of our few repeat guests that we've had. Always a trip to have him on. He's so much fun. Like you said, down to earth. And the stuff he's creating is pretty impressive. It's really impressive what he's doing over there with French Lick, and some of the stuff he's also doing is what he did one with buckwheat, right? And I think he did one with quinoa, I think, as well, maybe in the mash bill.
And I've had his malt smoked apple brandy.
Oh my God, it is phenomenal.
I've not had that. We've had the Hoosier apple brandy. We've had that. But
Have you had the tequila barrel apple brandy?
No.
Oh my God.
What the heck?
It's like 141 proof or something like that. And I mean, smack
All right.
you in the mouth.
You know, they actually sponsor the show. I should probably reach out and say,
Yeah, you should be like, hey,
by the
Alan."
way, you know what, guys? If you wouldn't mind, send us. Now, he does absinthe too, right?
Yeah, I haven't had any.
I haven't had
Haven't
any of his
either.
absinthe, but I've heard it's good. So
I bet if you ask nicely,
somebody would maybe send us some bottles.
maybe.
That would be nice.
You know, I've got his phone number if you may text.
That'd be nice. I don't have Alan's phone.
He does so many off the wall kind of things that it's really changing the distilling. I think if people would give it a try, and like it completely changed my mind, like about brandies, because when you go into a local liquor store and you go see a brandy and you see, it's like, $8. That's not brandy. That's flavored. I mean, it's flavored neutral grain spirit.
Yeah.
What he's producing, that is the real deal.
The real
And
deal.
It's good.
Yeah, and he's very, very historical about what he does. He's, and his brother does he's an old timey bartender or something, dressed
They
up
have
like
their
a.
own, what is that called?
I can't remember what it's called.
What is their group? They like reenact the history of like the Indiana distilling.
Yeah.
They have a group.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. His brother has a really cool page. I can't remember what it is, but he's always dressed up in like 1800s type garb and making cocktails from old timey recipes. I mean, it's really neat. It's really unique to.
We may need to
watch
take a
it.
field trip up there and see their show, because they do have an actual show that they do. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, as someone that sponsors your show, I think that we do need to take a group field trip.
We need to do a field trip to Spirits of French, and his dad works there too. His dad is an absolute trip as well. So yeah, you guys need to check Alan out. Anyway,
Bishop.
We've gone off topic a little bit, but Alan's just such a good dude. You can't help but sing his praises, right? So guys, let's talk about the nose on this one. Who wants to go first? Because I haven't even had a chance to pick it up. I've been talking so much.
Pick it up.
Pick it up. I'm going to pick it up. Stacey, while I'm picking it up.
You're going with me.
Yes, ladies first.
It's got a fruit-forward nose on it, in my opinion. Also got a little bit of tobacco when we first poured it out. I'm not getting as much of that anymore now that it's sat a little bit. Somebody help me out. What fruit am I getting with that? If I'm not getting fruit at all,
I think it's
fine.
like a.
I get a lot of apple and cranberry.
Like an apple, right?
It's
Like a little apple. I was gonna say almost like a strawberry, like a light strawberry puree, maybe.
I just tried to sniff the microphone.
I do that all the time.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, the microphone smells
like chicken. Smells like spatchcock and bourbon soaked nuts.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just like Mama used to make.
Matt, you've been working it over there, man. Add some sanity back into this program. Come on, step in, help us out.
It's the nose is really changing on this. Like every time I go in and smell it, I'm picking up something different. At first, it was really sweet right off the front.
Yeah,
like I picked up like the smell of a glazed donut right at the start, and now it's transferring now, and I'm picking up more like sweet tea.
Okay.
It's got a sweetness, but there's definitely some grassiness, some grassy notes coming through. I get sweet tea, almost like a little sarsaparilla. But again, like, I don't know if I'm just now thinking about cereal notes, but it's got kind of that toasty, roasty, kind of malty note a little bit on it as well.
All right. Philip, what about you, man?
So it's very sweet. I did get the tobacco immediately, like Stacey was saying. It's like I'm trying to think of, not a kiwi strawberry, but it's almost like a grassy, like if you're going to pick strawberries fresh out of a field, that's kind of how I'm
It's like a
getting it.
light,
It's like
summery
earthiness,
fruit.
yeah. And then I know that it's pot distilled, but I feel like you can always smell the difference between something that's pot distilled and then something that's column distilled.
Yeah.
For me, it's always there, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a very good thing. Like there's just like a rawness to it that's not so like purified.
Yeah. So the congeners, there's certain whatever congeners are not stripped out from a column still, so that pot still is going to leave those certain congeners in there. That makes sense. I think you're. And this is what proof was this one?
100.
Okay.
Bottled and bond.
Jeez. Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I had a moment. Chad, what about you, man? Did you already talk?
I threw out apples and cranberries.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very Christmassy. I get the grassy, the earthen notes that Matt was talking about. I get like a lot of like mint pine. I mean, it just really reminds me of like a Christmas candle. I mean, you can tell it is pot distilled. It does earthy, fruity notes. But I really enjoy the nose on it.
Yeah.
I do too.
I get the herbalness, the grassiness that comes through, a little mintiness on here that I'm picking up. But yeah, it does change. You know, I got that little bit of kind of that crisp apple type of aroma off of it as well. But then some maybe some strawberry, some other red fruit as well. So lots of different combinations of things coming out. And then I keep picking up rosemary, I think, and chicken fat off my fingers. So I keep trying to go back to the glass and make sure I'm not smelling my finger, which is at the bottom of the glass, but I keep smelling the chicken spices, Matt. So, you know, not that it matters to me because my tasting notes suck anyway. So I could say rosemary. You guys be like, yeah, that's par for the course for Mark. Yeah.
I don't think you're too far. It's got like there's kind of a briny
like kind of a chicken noodly soup note that I pick up.
Okay.
A little bit on the nose. Like it has like that kind of that salty, but like kind of fatty, unctuous note.
I mean, because I was smelling like I keep like, is it the chicken on my fingers that I'm smelling, or is it the actual?
This does not.
Yeah. I got Matt's spatchcock on my fingers still.
Oh
and
my God.
I can't get past it. So, well, guys, some big news happened not too long ago that was pretty interesting that we could talk about. And I forgot in the first session, I was like, totally went blank on it. But there was some big news coming out of Danville recently. There was a big buyout, at least of 70% of Wilderness Trail. So, what do you guys think about that?
Go them. I mean,
Yeah. Hell
they when did they start up?
Was it 14 or 15?
No,
because they just put out an 8-year, right?
Yeah. So I want to say they started 2012, maybe.
I think it was like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And then actually like
distilling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of big movement. I mean, they've a brand that's gone from just two dudes starting a distillery to, then they've got their first pot still. They get popular. People love their stuff, and they put out a lot of product that's aged from a pot still. And then now they are 100% column still. Everything that's coming out here in the next couple of years will be only their column still, and the pot still will be all gone. But they do a lot of contract distilling. Mm-hmm. And speaking of NDA, not that I've ever signed any, but I mean, there are tons of private label brands at some of your favorite liquor stores that are coming out from Wilderness Trail. That's kind of the big appeal to them, is selling these barrels. Even Chase, who you had on from Nulu a couple weeks ago, threw out the tidbit that he has some 3-year-old weeded Wilderness Trail.
Right.
That probably should have been hey, don't talk about this. But I don't know. That Pat and Shane sell that stuff to a broker. The broker just says, hey, I've got these barrels. Yeah. They cost XYZ. Move on. So a lot of the NDA things, might not even be real, but to know that, hey, Chase and the Newly team could sit on for 10 years and have, down the road a 13-year-old Wilderness Trail weeded.
Right. So. Yeah. Kind of crazy. But yeah, so they sold 70% of the company out to Diageo, right? Mm-hmm. For $420 million for a total valuation.
What a nice number.
Of $600 million. Yeah. So, and the funny thing was, so I have to share this story because Mrs. Bourbon Life and I were just at a fundraiser Saturday night for the Heart Association in Louisville. And there was a lot of distillers there, which was really cool to see. And Pat was there, and there was a bottle that was being sold. I can't remember what the bottle was at this point, but it got up to like $5,000. And Pat was the winning bidder at that point. It was $5,000. And then some guy from the back yelled out that he would bid $5,050. And that was it. And he won the bid. Now I'm thinking if I had just sold my company for $420 million, I would probably have to bump up that bid by maybe 50
if you're
more.
Spending like that everywhere you go,
exactly, you're not going to have $420 million. Yeah,
That'd
you're not going to have $420 million.
Maybe does it take for that check to clear?
Yeah, exactly. Is that coming in installments or is that a lump sum?
Yeah, that's a good question as well.
Is that stock options?
Yeah. How you cashing that one out, right? So
I mean, either way, that's awesome for them because
oh yeah, it's crazy.
That blew my mind when I read that.
And the thing about those guys is, some people know, people that are in the industry or around it and know those guys, they know they started out with the Firm Solutions. So they did the yeast company for years and were like the number 3 yeast provider in the world. So they provided yeast not just for distilleries, but also for food and I think for fuel manufacturing as well.
Yeah, I think diesel was diesel is their biggest money maker.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we saw Pat, we actually got to talk to him Saturday night. And that part of the business is staying. That's still theirs. They didn't sell any part of that. So, and I can't imagine how much money they make off of that.
Well, that's what paid for the distillery.
I was going to say, that's what paid for the distillery. So, that's a moneymaker, and that is still theirs. So, kudos to those guys, man. They've worked their asses off. They've done a great job. They put out some great products. They've done things a little differently. The sweet mash obviously kind of shook things up a little bit. It's funny because I'm studying for that certified whiskey specialist thing right now, and I'm reading that book by Dave Broom. And I told Mrs. Bourbon Life last night, I was reading something. He was talking about the bourbon production process, and he put in there in his steps of production that all bourbon is sour mash. And I was like, huh. That was written in 2014. So I was trying, I don't know if there were brands back then that were actually sweet mashing, I would assume somebody would probably.
Oh, yeah.
Peerless is sweet mash too, aren't they?
Yes.
I was going to say there had to be somewhere in the.
But I just thought that
United
was really
States
funny. I'm
sweet
like,
mash.
well, that's not
Yeah.
the case anymore. I mean, there's obviously sweet mash brands out there, Peerless, which I couldn't remember yesterday, but Peerless, Wilderness Trail. But I mean, good for them for doing that. But we're talking about the higher pricing in bottles or barrels. Well, we can probably talk about that because we're actually getting close to the end of this round, guys. So we probably need to talk about this.
Spoiler alert.
I know this whiskey. We can come back and maybe jump back in and talk about the barrel pricing in round 3. Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
We're going to take a unanimous vote here. Yeah. Okay. Round 3. So what do you guys pick up in terms of I'm just going to throw this out there. Matt got me thinking tea, and the first drink I took was like a drinking a glass of tea almost to me. I mean, it was like very tea.
For sure.
Yeah. So that was like the predominant. I didn't even get past that. I just got that. Not that it was bad. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, I think. And it was like, oh, tea. And then we went on with the conversation. So I didn't search for any other notes. Anybody else picking out stuff? Just jump in.
I definitely get the tea. It's the Lee's famous recipe sweet tea note.
Ooh,
Then
that's specific.
Yeah.
Cut.
A deep cut.
Then a lot of cinnamon, like almost not quite hard candy like. It's not quite that sweet, but definitely goes down that path. Good bit of leather on it for I assume a 4-year-old rye. I can't imagine they have much older coming out of French Lick.
Yeah, it just has aged at least 4 years.
But no, the cinnamon, the tea note really is strong. It's very prominent, and I can't get that out of my mind. But it has a nice little bit of a mild sweetness to it. Good bit of oak in the leather. It really reminds me of a Willet rye, like some of those 6-7-year-old Willet ryes.
Okay. Huh. Cool. Philip, what about you, man?
After you said that, you've ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to say ruined it, but like that's,
it's
I mean,
it
it's
didn't ruin it. It's
prominent.
It is very prominent.
That's why I went first on this one. Because I knew everybody was going to get that one.
It's
Yay me.
I won't say it's grainy, but it's got like that earthy mouth feel. It's almost like I don't know anybody else that maybe you've done it or not. When I was a kid, helping my
Eat dirt. You
No,
just give it a handful. Okay, go ahead.
putting hay up in the barn.
Oh yeah.
If you grab a piece of that straw after it's drawn out, that's kind of that flavor that I get from it. And some people might think it's not a bad thing, but I think it's a great flavor.
Yeah. Interesting. Matt, what about you, man?
The tea is hard to get past.
Yeah.
It's black tea, kind of like Earl Grey English breakfast.
Yeah.
Kind of real dark tea right in your face. And there's a lot of leather and tobacco. And I pick up like some black licorice on the palate with this as well.
Huh. Stacy, anything? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I almost wonder, like, if this wasn't pot stilled, if a lot of those tea notes would have been kind of flushed out, and you would have been more of like a classic rye flavor because of the mash bill. I mean, it kind of lines up with a lot of your what you would call like barely legal rye. It's 60% rye, but to me,
which I would expect it to be like. I think with that mash bill going into it, I was expecting it to be this kind of a very sweet rye.
Yeah.
With these very bourbon-esque type of notes to it. It was like, took a drink. I'm like, nope, that's not.
Yeah, and after I've tried a few of Alan's things, like it's really opened my eyes and my palate to stuff and I've actually leaned more towards pot stilled stuff now, just because there's so many more flavors in there that you don't get from the typical
column still. Yeah. All right, Stacy, what about you?
Well, I'm going to cherry pick a few things that everybody has said. Obviously, tea. Yep. I'm still getting a lot of tobacco on the palate as well. I'm going to also echo what Philip said. When I took my first sip of this, it did remind me of working out in the barn. Did give me a lot of those hay qualities. So I really like this because it makes me, it's reminiscent of my childhood.
A childhood, yeah.
No, but I really do like this. I think that there's a lot of interesting flavor profiles going on in here.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. On the finish, that kind of hay type of note does, as I breathe in, I can kind of, it's like coming off the palate there. I can kind of taste it. So I see what you're saying. It's tannic to me. I mean, is it drying to you guys? I mean,
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Chad, I mean, you're the tannic expert. So I figured I was like, is it tannic to you or not?
No, I mean, I definitely picking up on the tannins. It is a little drying on the sides of the palate. It was not overly tannic to me. But I mean, I feel like it does drink a little bit older than a 4-year-old rye.
Yeah.
But the color on it's also pretty insane for 4 years old. I mean, it's sitting next to that 7-year-old. Is that what that is, Philip? 7-year-old?
I think this one's 6. But
All right, well, 6-year-old.
close, yeah.
And I mean, it's damn near the same color for 2 years less. I mean, wherever they aged at or whatever kind of warehouse they put it in, it definitely got beat up by that wood.
Yeah. All right, guys. So what do you think? Fixture or mixture?
It's a fixture for me.
Picture for me.
How much was it?
I didn't buy it. So.
Yeah,
I would have.
freest fixture.
There you go, Matt.
I like it for what it is.
Yeah.
In being a pot distilled and kind of funky and out of the box from what the mash bill says. But for me, a little drying, and I'm not one much for the black tea notes. So
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got a mixture of this one.
I got you. I would, even though it doesn't fit my profile, I'd still put this one as a fixture just because it is unique. It's different. It's something I think, I don't know. I think I would have it on the bar.
I think this would be a fun one to take to like a bottle share.
Yeah.
For sure.
And because people would not expect it.
Yeah.
But it's a very nice drinker. It's not your standard 60% rye whiskey. Like I said, I mean, it doesn't have any of those notes that I would have expected from a 60-35 or whatever it was. So, I was going to say something. Man, I'm just drawing blanks tonight.
Fixture or mixture for you? Did you say that?
I said fixture.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would buy it just to have it because I think it's a good one. It's unique, and plus it's Allen. So I know what I was going to say. The Old Dominic, I checked it. $80 is what I paid for that. So
Okay.
5-year-old bottle and bond. But 90 is the new 50. So
I was gonna say my fixture still stands for that one.
So at $80, that's really only $40 and $2021.
Any more, that's not a bad price.
Yeah.
I can go buy a half a cart of groceries for $80.
There you go, guys. All right, let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor. We'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Friendsgiving in just a few minutes.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final round of the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by 340 Lex. I'm your host, Mark, and with me in person here in the Bourbon Life Studios, otherwise known as my basement tonight, it's the Bourbon Life Crew. We're having a good time. We're having our Bourbon Life Crew Friendsgiving, and Matt graciously cooked us all a wonderful meal tonight, and we're going to top off the dinner with this wonderful dessert that he made for us. Matt, you want to tell everybody what you fixed up for us here?
Sure deal. So you have to have dessert.
Yes.
That's why we all didn't eat that much dinner, because we were saving room for dessert.
I've only had like 5 of those dates, man. So
I wanted to do a play on a bourbon or rye cocktail. So in our last meal last year, I made a old-fashioned themed apple pie.
that's right.
And so this year, I decided to do a Manhattan themed cherry pie. So I took cherries and soaked them in rye, vermouth, and bitters. So all the kind of common ingredients you would find in the Manhattan. And for this, I used Rossville Union, not the barrel strength, but just their regular, I think it's 95 proof rye. So that's a 95.5 MGP from MGP.
From MGP.
Yep. So I picked that because it's got a little bit lighter of a flavor. It's not as big and bold of a rye, but it also does bring some spice through, like a little bit of black pepper. And so I wanted some herbs and a little bit of spice with this as well. And then also with the cherries, I zested some orange in there and put a little bit of orange juice. And then we baked it all into a pie. And this is a Manhattan cherry pie.
It's
Freaking delicious.
man.
So, do you pick out what desserts you're going to do and then just be like, okay, like start tasting down your bar, like, let's see what this tastes like, and kind of pair it that way? Or do you already have in mind, like, I know this bourbon's sweet or this rye's a little spicy, so I'm going to use it?
I thought about like different cocktails and what I wanted to do, and then found a bourbon, or in this case, a rye to pair it with. Kind of the same thing. So I knew, like, for instance, with the carrots, I wanted to do those carrots. And so when I think about them, I knew I was going to put some herbs in there. So I wanted a really herbal rye, something that was going to play well with that. With the dates, I chose a wheated bourbon because I wanted something a little bit sweeter, but also that I could put some more proof into. So that was 110 proof maker's cask. But since it's wheated, you don't always catch so much of that alcohol. It's a little sweeter, but it also has like kind of some cherry notes, some things that would play well with the bacon and kind of help to cut through a little bit of that fat as well. So there is like a subtle method to the madness.
So you pick the meal and then kind of so you don't go with the whiskey first. You always pick the meal first and then kind of.
It could go either way, I think. Okay. If I really had a bourbon or a rye that inspired something, I'm sure I could find a way to cook something around it.
Philip, what Matt's trying to tell you is that he goes both ways. Okay, so just let it go.
I think we all have tonight
with his spatchcock
meat in his spatchcock in our mouth.
Yeah, Matt, this is fantastic. Even you were complaining like the gluten-free crust isn't going to be good, but it's really good.
Yeah, not an easy task to make gluten-free crust. So.
Not at all from scratch. Because I remember last year you were like, man, it's going to fall apart, and it's like blah blah blah.
Oh, and I put rye in the crust as well.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put the rye in there as well as part of it.
Matt, you're a creative genius, my friend. I'm telling you, these cherries, I could just sit here and eat these cherries by themselves.
Yeah, man, those cherries are good.
Holy crap. So what kind of are they just canned cherries or did you buy?
Frozen.
Frozen? Okay.
Yeah,
fresh picked from his cherry tree.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not from Michigan. The cherries are not from
These are not from Michigan. No, I did not have my parents bring them down. So I don't know if they're Montmorency or Bing or
Gotcha.
Maraschino, but there's a little bit of sweet and a little bit of sour, kind of a combo of both.
Yeah. Well, the pie is delicious, man. It's absolutely wonderful. The whole meal has been great.
Yes.
You made our Friendsgiving so special, Matt. Thank you so much.
Well, it's not about the meal; it's about the friends.
And
I don't know who those are, but
yeah, man.
I got stuck here eating with you,
Kleenex
jackasses.
at the table. It's heartfelt and touching.
I mean, what's better than a little bourbon with friends, right? So, so what do we got poured up this round?
So this round we've got rare character, a straight rye whiskey finished in Amburana cask, a Kentucky 95.5, 5 years 7 months. This is the AMB4, so their fourth Amburana finished barrel.
And how would you describe Amburano?
What is Amburano?
How does one Amburano?
How does it? Is
So
it a
funny
dance?
you guys should ask.
Is it like a Macarena? Is it?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Hey, Amburana.
So Amburana is a native wood to Brazil.
So it is like the Macarena.
Yes.
Oh, identical almost, you could say.
Let's see. Wood comes from South America. Is an incredible array of native woods used in aging cachaça. So that is
I love cachaça.
I have never had it.
It's
a Brazilian rum, or
it's like a white rum, and so instead of using molasses, they use just sugar.
They use the sugarcane juice, right?
Yeah.
So they ferment that and distill it, and then they make that, and it's used to make the Brazilian national drink.
Caipirinhas.
Thank you, Matt. I didn't know how to pronounce it, but I knew
Love
that was
caipirinhas.
They're so good.
Yeah.
So what? It's just that's like brown sugar or sugar.
Just
It's like
sugar, lime,
cachaça.
and cachaça.
Yeah,
You
and lime.
muddle the sugar into the lime, and then you just pour in the cachaça.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they're super good.
Yeah. So I know people are probably tired of hearing it, but the certified specialist of spirits.
You took that? Oh, you're studying
I'm
for that.
studying that.
Oh, okay. I had no idea.
Last week was all about rum. Yeah, I know. It's like, how do you know somebody's done a marathon? Just give them a minute, right? They're going to tell you about it.
I mean, I've never heard.
So we were
talk
talking
about his
about
For brags about his marathon.
cachaça. We were talking about, except for Matt. Matt doesn't talk about himself at all. But they were talking about that, and they were talking about the drink, and I was like, that sounds absolutely. And I almost actually went over to Total Wine to see if I could find a bottle of cachaça just to.
I carry one.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bring it over next time.
Because I was going to try to
Got
make
an
it. I was
open
like, I
bottle.
figure we've got limes upstairs, and I've got sugar. I was going to use brown sugar just to see how it would work, but
Use white sugar
white sugar.
at first. Then
Okay.
if you want to change to brown.
Yeah. I was going to try it, so I didn't. But that is like the national drink of Brazil, isn't it? Crazy.
Cachaça is like the number 3 most popular alcohol in the world.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And most people don't have any clue.
Yeah, nobody here in North America knows
what it
It's
is.
kind of like soccer.
Oh, wow, dude.
Nice.
Those are fighting words right there, my friend. Yeah. There's going to be a throwdown after this.
America, who wakes up for early morning soccer? Mark. Anybody else? No.
Wow. Oh, my.
See, you brought this on yourself. You're
See,
like,
I
well,
know.
nobody made
Nobody
fun
made
of
fun of me. You know, Philip was the one that said, nobody made fun of you, Mark. Yeah, and now here's Philip.
He's had it brewing.
was
Couldn't you
waiting.
see it in his eyes?
Now, no more pie for
I
you.
was waiting for the auto.
No more pie for you. 1 year. Anyway, so you're reading about the barrel, the wood. So
The Macarena.
Yeah. No, I was just paraphrasing the back. I don't want to read the whole thing, but just says they combined one of a kind access with these distilleries, private warehouses, and finished in Pablo Moy's special or select stocks. Yeah, I mean, just finest Amburana cask, which he was on a live, and apparently there's several different types of Amburana tree and wood, and some of them are not even allowed to be used in the United States because they have not passed certain regulations, so they don't know how they react to food and drink.
So it's got like wormwood in it or something, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
going to make you
funny.
trip
guess that-
like an absinthe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna wake up tomorrow on the beach somewhere with no clothes on.
That's better than the Heaven Hill
So it'd be like-
camping.
it'd be like last week.
campgrounds there, right?
Oh,
Just
goodness.
kidding. Mark has never gone to
Yeah.
camp at Heaven Hill
Thank you.
without his clothes on.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I almost did. No, I'm just kidding. So let's talk about nosing. What's going on here? Philip, you're working it over, man. So I'm going to jump back
I
to you.
can't wait for
I'm
these
not gonna-
notes.
no, I'm not gonna lie.
I'll just say
I
it.
am not a fan at all.
You're not? Okay.
So I do get some, like you said before we started, some coconut, a little bit of cinnamon.
Okay.
But there's just some kind of floral note that just turns me off. It, like I said, it smells like an old lady.
It smells like perfume.
It's like
Ready-
some
yeah.
verbena or
I
like
gotcha.
It's not.
I got you.
And I feel like it's from the wood because I mean it's a rye whiskey, so I can't imagine that it's from the mash bill itself, but I feel like it's got to be from the wood.
So it's a 95.5, right?
A Kentucky 95.5 distilled in Bardstown.
Distilled in Bardstown. I wonder who that could have been.
The same people I said last time.
Matt, what about you? What do you get on the nose, man?
It's funny that it's a rye, specifically this Kentucky 95.5, which I've become such a huge fan of because I really don't pick up a lot of those characteristic rye notes
Yeah.
on the nose. I would have much easier for me to guess this was a bourbon
Okay.
finished in there. But on the nose, I get a lot of orange creamsicle.
Okay.
It's got an orange character, some sweet cream, almost like some nougat
Okay.
as well.
All right.
I can see where you're saying like there's a little bit of coconut. I think there's something tropical,
Something tropical, right?
yeah, that I'm picking up.
Like a pina colada, a Macarena, and what's the wood called? Amburana.
Amburana.
But it,
Yeah.
it has also like a drying wood note, like toasted wood note on the end. That's not oak, but like a different type of sawdust type nose near the end as well. I actually quite like this note.
Yeah. Stacy, okay, you jumped in there a little bit earlier with Philip, but what
it's very perfumey.
perfumey? Okay.
I get a little bit of like Panama City Beach, like suntan.
Yeah. Okay. I was going down. You guys were talking about coconut. I'm like, this almost has like a suntan oil nose to it. I'm
Who
glad.
who doesn't like to drink
Panama.
suntan? No, but I love the nose. I'm just going to throw that out there and say that
it is kind of tropical.
it's tropical and it's something completely unexpected.
If you
Something-
were drinking this at the beach, you would be like, it doesn't even have a scent because it just smells.
It smells like
yeah,
it
does
smells like my
smell
beautiful wife who's next to me, lathered up in
Anita, do you think that you smell like this?
coconut oil. She doesn't get in the sun. That's why she's so porcelain white. That's why her skin is so beautiful and fair. So she doesn't get out. She doesn't have to wear sunscreen because she doesn't even get out in the sun. The sun has never touched her skin.
Mark's married to a vampire.
Take her to the beach, damn it.
Chad, what about you, man? You brought this. We should ask you what you think of it.
I did bring this.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I don't get I mean, I could see where the slight tropical notes, but I don't get I mean, it is perfumey. I feel like most rye whiskey is going to be perfumey in an essence. But I love it. I get a lot of cinnamon sugar. Those airplane cookies, so the Speckaloos cookies, I get like that that spice.
Okay.
The nutmeg, the brown sugar. and cinnamon, but like in that specific layered order of however the hell it is they make those cookies. A little bit of chocolate, and just, I don't know. I think it's very sweet on the nose. I get a little bit of the proof point.
What is the proof?
113.64.
Wow. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't nose like that.
No, but I just a little hit of the, like, maybe not even ethanol. It's just the oak. Like, getting some of the tannins on the nose, like Matt was saying. But I love the nose. I love this bottle. This is something I have been very, very much nursing.
I think you and Philip are going to have to throw down now because Philip didn't like it, and you obviously are very passionate about it. So I think...
Good thing I don't give a shit about what Philip thinks.
And here we are at Friendsgiving, y'all.
Friendsgiving.
And
Now that the pie is
the
done.
crazy
the
uncle
claws
just brought up
Wow.
politics.
Hot button
At
topics have
the
been
state.
brought
Yeah.
up at the dinner table.
Religion,
Wow.
anyone?
Yep,
There
religion.
you go. Let's talk about the politics of religion. No, let's not discuss that. So,
Jesus himself would not know. It's not that bad.
Oh, my
It's
God.
just not for me. I'm not saying that it's. I mean, there's plenty of people that probably think it's a really nice nose. It's just
not
there's
your
something
jam.
about even in at home, if my wife puts something like a candle or something that's very floral, it just turns me
Too
off
much for you.
immediately.
Yeah, I get
just
it.
can't
No,
do
I mean, I can see that, man. That's everybody has their own unique palate and the scents that they enjoy, and obviously things that they don't because it reminds them of certain things or whatever.
So who hurt you as a child?
Who hurt you with a candle as a child?
It hurt me. I just think old women perfume smells like shit.
Oh man. So let's talk about, we touched on it a little bit earlier. We were talking about the barrels and the pricing. So we're talking, obviously during the break, I think we were talking about the bottles that we've got, because we've got 8 bottles on the table, and how many were sourced? 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
Yellowstone is sourced.
It is sourced? Okay.
6.
Okay. So there you go. So over half the bottles on our table right now are sourced whiskeys. So with that in mind, obviously, we had Chase on the show a couple of weeks ago, and you kind of alluded to that, Chad, that he was talking to Matt and myself about the pricing, how much it's gone up, how crazy it is. But I think they have plenty of barrels. What do you say? They have 2,000 barrels right now
On location.
at
Like in
MGP.
Louisville. I thought it said in Louisville, not including what's at MGP.
I thought he said 200
I thought it was 200 on site.
and
to the
2,000.
point where they can hardly walk through the place.
Yeah, but
and
I thought he said like 2,000 at
Yeah.
MGP, didn't he?
No, I don't
at
know.
least.
That they've laid. Yeah. So, but I mean, there's brands obviously that are buying barrels that they're going to have a hard time continuing to do that, don't you think? What do you guys think?
I think they're going to have to. And I don't know, like some of the brands, some of the MGP brands. I won't call them MGP brands, but they source from MGP, as in like Smoke Wagon, Penelope, some of those brands. They're either going to have to start finding new sources because they're getting so big. Like Smoke Wagon's got 5 different products now, something like that. Penelope's they have new stuff coming out. It seems like every 2 or 3 months. So I just don't see how MGP can continue on with their own brands and sustain, adding, helping these other brands continue to grow because they've got to be coming from some other sources.
So let's talk about, because we talked about the Wilderness Trail getting bought out, right? So we know Wilderness Trail's distilling for other people. So is that kind of the play right now? Buying these, Green River got bought out. I mean, is that?
I mean, absolutely, that's where the money is. I mean,
Bardstown's obviously contract distilling. So that's the thing, is it's not going to be necessarily trying to find barrels on the market. It's actually finding
it's
distilleries.
buying the source of who's creating those barrels on the market. Because Bardstown, I mean, we're having a pour of something that came from Bardstown Bourbon Company 5.5 years ago, sat in a barrel, sold off to a broker, and someone bought up. That's the appeal. I mean, very much like the 50s and 60s kind of style where you had 1,000 brands, but only 4 people who made it kind of deal. And I feel like we're going back to that. So people are talking about, it's going to dry up, it's going to go away. I don't know that it will. I don't think it's going to dry up, but I think we're going to see a point to where some of these brands who, Joe Schmo has a couple $100,000, starts a brand and a label, buys a few barrels, and they created a brand between easy meow.
Mrs. Bourbon Life.
Gotta be kidding me
and
right
the
now.
cats.
Oh.
But
Oh, wow. But you deserve it. That was a good one. Yeah. Anyway.
But some of these brands who just pop up and they have, you know, a 5-year plan and nothing else, I don't see them lasting. So
Yep.
you got a ton of these brands. So like, I mean, Penelope's big thing is the whole 4 grain, the blending aspect. But I think those brands who have been good customers to MGP, who have been buying not just aged stock but new make, MGP is going to take care of those customers because that's guaranteed continual revenue. Versus, holy shit, I have 5,000 barrels I need to sell. We're going to sell them to this broker. We're going to take a hit on it. The broker's going to make more money than we are. That's kind of MGP's logic on it. So they're going to take the loss up front. But I mean, I don't know. I heard the other day that Bardstown Bourbon Company was cutting their bottom performing brands, people who buy from them. If they're
Interesting.
they're not ordering enough.
That's what I'm afraid is going to happen. Is like a lot of your brands that maybe release, not that they have a consistent brand, but they're like, oh, we got batch 1 and it's a 15-year-old bourbon, and then we got batch 2 and it's a 6-year-old bourbon, and then we got batch 3. So they're literally just piecing together order after order, and they're seeing what they make off the first one and then buying the second one. I think a lot of those brands are getting ready to fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
Because there's not a consistent income and the money, the cash flow, because they're constantly having to raise money. I just don't see how that's sustainable. And then at the same time, it makes sense if you're a big brand, buy out the source.
Yeah.
The source brand. Like, okay, buy out Wilderness Trail, and then guess what? Cut off the source market, and you've just eliminated how much of your competition.
But that's what I wonder from a financial perspective. I mean, is it going to be in their interest to do that? And is it going to come to a point? Because, I mean, there are barrels laid down that eventually end up on the market, right? They get sold.
Right.
But then there's also brands that go to distilleries, and the distilleries actually contract distill for them based on their mash bill, put the barrels down and lay them aside for them. So is it going to get to the point where you think everybody's going to basically have to be a contract distiller? They're going to have to hire a contract distiller, or will there still be barrels that are going to be out there on the market that distilleries are going to still be willing to sell those barrels by themselves without?
I think there's going to be some, but I think it's going to cut way back. I think your smaller distilleries, so even like say your Spirits and French Lick, Jump at the Creed, places like that that's got their own still, they're doing their own thing. I think they'll be fine because they're creating their own customer base.
Right.
But if you don't have your own product, I mean, yeah, you're putting your name on it, but
so if you're an NDP, if you're a non-distilling producer,
there's some originality that comes with that stuff, and now people are looking for things that stand out. I think that's going to hurt, and it's like with anything, back the big trend, a couple years ago was women buying LuLaRoe off Facebook. Well, guess what? Everybody and their mom was selling LuLaRoe. It's the same thing. Everybody and their mom's buying a bourbon brand.
I love that you just made that analogy.
They're buttery soft.
Yeah.
I never owned a single pair of that shit.
But it's the same. It's kind of the same thing. And like, okay, you got celebrities. There's how many UFC fighters have got bourbon brands now?
right?
It's like you all get punched in the face for a living. What the hell do you know about whiskey?
Bruce Buffer.
Yeah. Bruce Buffer, Dustin Poirier, Brendan Schaub, Conor McGregor. I mean, everybody's in the whiskey business. You got how many country music artists? Those source barrels are going to run out.
Absolutely.
And why would, Buffalo Trace, I live in Frankfurt, they're putting up new warehouses, as fast as possible, and they're full as soon as they build them. Okay, why do they have a problem putting stuff on the shelf? They're holding it back. I think they're holding it back for when this market tanks, they've got their stuff that's going to be, just roll it right out on the shelf.
Huh. Interesting.
Hence why Yellowstone snout.
Matt, what do you think, man? You got any?
It's an interesting query and conundrum to ponder on this, especially in the instance of Wilderness Trail with Diageo owning them. I wonder if they are going to slowly start transferring away from the Wilderness Trail
Campari.
brand. And
Do what?
Campari.
What about them?
Oh, did I say?
They own Campari too.
Diageo bought Balcones, didn't
Yeah,
they?
Diageo.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It just hit me. We've been saying Diageo
We
this whole
have.
time.
It was Campari.
Yeah,
Because they own Wild
Campari.
Turkey.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're all. That's
WT, ha 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 her. Okay, move on.
That's why I'm starting the Walking Taco Distillery.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
What? Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
I just wonder if big companies are going to take these producers like Wilderness Trail and get them slowly transferring off of the Wilderness Trail brands and focusing more on selling what they've laid down as source barrels. And I don't think that Wilderness Trail is going to cease to exist as a brand. I don't believe that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But it maybe taking some of the stock and some of the production that's coming out and making that available to the market, maybe that could be one of the reasons that now distilleries that are producing for others are so hot on the market, when people that are just distilling for themselves, nobody's really seeing those distilleries bought up, right?
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, the 3-tiered system is getting broken down. Like, it's slowly happening. You know, distilleries now can sell you. They can sell it to you in the gift shop and then ship it to you, or you can buy it online. And
Right.
So they're slowly getting to the point to where the distributors aren't going to really have much of a,
As much control over.
yeah,
that.
as much control of the product. So it makes sense to start, cutting out customers now. I mean, look what, Amazon or Walmart, these big brands, that's what they do. They come in, they buy the smaller guy that's really popular, and then they're selling the same product. They're just, it's under that umbrella.
Huh.
But you wonder too, if one of these big brands like Campari now has someone that's looking to distill, they now have a distillery that they can say, oh, well, partner with us because we have Wilderness Trail
Right.
that can distill for you.
Right.
Because they did that with turkey for a long time. Turkey would sell juice. There are brands who used to buy wild turkey liquid from the open market, or that from brokers on the open market, or wild turkey would contract distill. But that's not a thing anymore, because wild turkey has to keep up with their own damn shit so they can keep putting 101 on the shelf for $26 a fifth.
Right. Yeah.
And how many, I just thought of this, how many rare limited releases can you come up with if you're Campari and you just bought Wilderness Trail and you're like, well, we're not going to put that much into Wilderness Trail. You make this much a year, we're going to keep it at that. Then we're going to take all these extra barrels, and then instead of sourcing them out, we're going to, limited release a 10-year,
Yeah.
rye wheat blend, or, whatever they come up with.
Yeah, I think it might actually have some benefit too, because now Wilderness Trail has access to some much older and different barrels that they could maybe do some weird blending and
Yeah.
produce some one-offs and maybe some weird finishes, or I don't know, maybe that's not what they want to do, but
I mean, the opportunity is there.
Absolutely.
Why
The
not?
Russells and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The level
Pat
of the
Shane.
partnership, I guess that's kind of where it, ends up. How much are they actually partners, or how much is it the big corporation?
Right,
The
yeah.
small guy still running the show.
That'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see how it all plays out and what
drink a little
happens.
Wilderness Turkey or
Wild
Wild Trail.
Don't forget Walking Taco. Anyway, so let's jump back. Let's talk about the palate and the finish on this one. This rare character.
I'd love
Mark,
it.
why don't you go first?
Why don't I go? Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but I love what's the vodka from Poland? Shoot, it's the one with the bison grass in it.
Oh, the pea grass? Yeah.
It's got the
it starts with the Z.
Zubrovka,
Zubrovka, yeah.
Zubrovka.
So you said there's a buffalo on it, and then you say it's pea grass. So is it buffalo piss?
It's
vodka?
buffalo grass.
That's been pissed on.
the
buffalo-
Sign me up.
So
Wow, that
they-
sounds fantastic.
They take the grass from the fields where the bison are, and they pee, and as they do, and they stick that piece of grass.
They wash it and clean it.
No.
There is a blade of grass.
They stick that blade of grass inside the fucking bottle.
All right, but it's a very unique vodka.
So
and
it's like a tequila worm.
It tastes
Except it's
delicious.
spicy.
but
Mezcal worm.
It's very. It's got a little bit of grassy sweetness. It's almost like a hint of vanilla to it as well. And I mean, this on the palate and the finish. It reminds me of that, which is really weird. But I get a lot of that herbal quality that I pick up in that Zubrovka, that vodka from that bison grass. It's almost kind of like a lemongrassy. You get like a sweetness, a little citrus, some sweetness to it, herbal notes as well. So Anyway, that's kind of what I get.
So, okay, so I'm going to start out and say Heaven Hill Vodka, America, fuck yeah. On this,
man.
The palate is much better than the nose. I don't get any of that cinnamon sugar that, like, I do get a little bit on the nose now that it's sit there and opened up that Chad was talking about, but you can definitely tell. I think you can definitely tell it's a rye once you are actually tasting it.
Yeah. Matt, what about you?
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love
Okay.
it. I think Chad really hit it right on when he said Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What I was missing with the rye on the nose definitely comes through on the palate.
Okay.
Big hit of cinnamon, big spice right up front. And then it's got kind of those like toasty marshmallows, a little bit of the herbal spice, little heat that comes with it. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a really apt description. It almost like reminds me of if you were to make a Rice Krispie treat out of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, wow.
With like some vanilla
That's
on
a
it
great
as well.
idea. Can we do that for Christmas?
With like
Why not?
It's excellent. This is really good, Chad. Thank you.
Don't thank Pablo for it.
Matt,
Chad, great
thanks,
work
Pablo.
on this one.
Matt is a rare character fanboy, man. There's no doubt about it. So.
Yeah, you've made
And
it.
I'll give them
created a
credit.
monster.
The two that I've tasted that Chad's brought, they are so different.
Oh, yeah.
Like these are out of the park. Totally different than anything you'll ever taste.
Yeah. Stacey, what about you?
So I definitely like the palate way more than the nose. I didn't completely hate the nose. It just was a little bit too floral for my liking on the nose. The palate does scream Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And continuing with our cereal theme for the evening, I also got some like Lucky Charms marshmallows on it.
Oh, nice.
So Matt was on the right track
With the marshmallow.
with me thinking about like Rice Krispie treats there. But yeah.
So could we make Cinnamon Toast Crunch treats, but with the marshmallows from Lucky Charms?
I mean, why not?
Or just soak the Rice Krispie treats in that bourbon.
You'd almost have to. I mean, Lucky Charms.
yeah, there's
marshmallows.
not a lot of marshmallows. You have to pick those out.
Don't they now sell? I thought you could buy boxes.
I think
Oh,
you can
you
buy
can buy
just
just
a
the
box of the
marshmallows.
marshmallows. You used to be able to anyway.
Yeah, it's called diabetic coma.
It comes with a free shot of insulin.
Insulin, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Chad, what about you, man?
I'll just mirror everything that everyone else has said. I'm obviously a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of the brand itself. But after having the cigar batch from Starlight uses the exact same wood as this, the Amburana, I've been chasing more and more and more and more. Umbra finish. Nulu's got one coming out. It actually hit seal box, which I have not picked one of those up yet. But big fan. I think it's, to me, I loved it on the nose. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch aspect, the cinnamon clove nutmeg falls through on the palate, but you do get that nice rye grain, rye forward punch on the finish. I just wish the finish was a little longer.
Gotcha. Well, I'm a fan of it as well. So what do you guys think in terms of mixture?
Fixture.
How much was this?
How much you know what the retail is? $235. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I want to say I paid either $80 or $90 for this.
All right, fixture for me.
Yep.
I would say fixture, even though I didn't love the because it's so unique.
Okay.
That
All right.
it's a shelf talker for sure.
And it might not even be something you could drink all the time, but it's one of those things like when you do break it out or share it with someone, or you just have that occasional pour, it's like, oh damn, this is a special pour.
Yeah, very cool. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, we're at the end of round 3. We've actually gone over. Oh no. But it's Friendsgiving. That's what friends do. So you guys, any final thoughts before we wrap it up? Philip, I'm just gonna go around the table.
Happy Thanksgiving. Share some pours with your friends and family, and everybody have a great holiday.
Matt?
I think Philip hit it right on there.
All right, Stacy?
I'm going to get sentimental. So thankful for being a part of this group. No, but seriously, it's been a lot of fun. So thanks for having me. Happy Thanksgiving.
Chad?
I assume this is coming out this Friday, right?
This will come out this Friday, yes.
Okay. So people who listen to it early or late, happy Thanksgiving. Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of it. It was nice to be able to get off work and just drive right over here and sit and hang out for like an hour before we started because I got to just wind down.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for cooking me Thanksgiving dinner, Matt.
Awesome meal,
Absolutely,
Matt.
It was delicious.
Yes, because I will be working 13 hours on Thanksgiving, so I will most likely just be going home to some warmed up leftovers.
Oh,
So I appreciate the nice fresh meal. Everything was delicious.
yeah, Matt, you knocked it out, man. Thanks again for doing that. we'll make this is going to be a yearly thing for as long, I guess, as the Bourbon Life podcast continues. Who knows? We'll keep going forever, Matt. Every year, you just have to keep doing this for us.
This is how I ensure you don't kick me off the show.
Who cares if nobody else listens?
Well, I'm just kidding, guys. Appreciate it, and appreciate all our listeners as well. But Matt, the meal was great. Thank you guys for bringing pours to share. Obviously, really appreciate that. That's what makes this so much fun, is being able to sit around with friends and have some good conversation. Even if we just sit around and BS, it's still a lot of fun to just be able to do that and hang out together. So
it makes me happy that people get to listen to our group chats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Because this would be like a text message chat between
We
us.
should just read straight from our group chats.
Oh, yeah, we might
Group
not.
chat readings. Yeah, maybe not.
We might not.
There's a lot of wrestling, though.
We might.
Start the Patreon. That's the behind the
Oh my
scenes
God.
fun.
Behind the scenes Patreon. There you go. The text between the Bourbon Life Crew.
Hashtag canceled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we are the Bourbon Life Podcast, presented this week by 340 Lex. You can check them out online. It's a really unique little space in downtown Lexington. It's almost right across from Rupp Arena. So check those guys out. We appreciate their support. We also appreciate the support of all of our sponsors. Thank them for everything that they do. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. We hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up, send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the Bourbon Life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the Bourbon Life.